That wasn't done on purpose. Everyone's okay, but that feeling, I remember that feeling of breakaway in the Garden, Big East tournament, boy, and especially in a game like this for Bryce Hopkins. Clear your head a little bit.
Ian Jackson, North Carolina transfer. Another guy who's identified as, okay, could he swing them into a different gear as these games get harder and harder in March? Mela, no. Providence just one made field goal in the first 8 minutes of the game. Santa got his man in the air. It's short. Hopkins tipping it to himself. Jackson. Sellers cannot collect. They just keep coming at you. Prey deflected and
he was consistent. Danielle, maybe. Danielle Marshall, yes. He was baby Jesus is what we called Danielle Marshall. That was his nickname. But I love that Rick Pitino was telling his guys, Josan Santon is who he was really directing that at. Shoot, and shoot more.
Sellers to Mela. Caroline was in Kim English's huddle. What did he have to say?
Well, the focus there was rebounding. The Providence coaching staff saying, keep them out of the paint and take care of the glass. Kim English said, we have everything we want, we just have to rebound.
Now that breaks up a 7-0 run, and that's just their second made field goal. But here's the deal. They've been out-rebounded 15-5.
Yeah, they started this game 1-9. They started yesterday's game 1-9, but we talked about it. Different defensive matchups for them. I don't like that shot by Santa. He's got to get those toes behind the line. If you're going to shoot a deep one, make sure you get every point for it, or put it on the floor.
Did Coach say keep shooting it, though, in the huddle?
But not bad ones, though. You got to know where your feet are. That's just, you're standing on the line. That's just trying to shoot it because the coach said shoot it.
Sellers. Jalen Sellers with some hesitation. The Big East scoring champion.
He's such a terrific athlete. We've illustrated that.
Darling is off. St. John's is now struggling from distance. Sellers, head of steam. He gets a bucket. Timeout, Rick Pitino.
You get yourself going. If you're Sellers, you get downhill.
The late 80s, when one Rick Pitino was on the sidelines in Providence, and he said pregame to Caroline, nobody loves Providence more than me. Now, Coach B can always spin a different trap, but he loves the area. But the point is, Donnie, it's not the offense. They've allowed 84 points per game.
Yeah. Best offensive team in terms of scoring in the Big East, but worst in defense.
8 on the shot clock. Darling, Shannon, Jackson, Prey, and Ejiofor. Giants go big. Prey will go in the line.
Right, the season started talking about who the point guard was, talking about we don't have a point guard, and now it's really about their size.
Sunday night basketball is on NBC and Peacock every week in prime time, and this week we're right here at the Garden. Warriors, Knicks, Sunday night on NBC and Peacock.
What I was saying before I was interrupted by Jalen Brunson and Draymond Green there was the size, that front line for St. John's has changed everything. Mitchell in there with Ejiofor, obviously, and Hopkins. Just a big team, and then you bring Prey in off the bench. Imposing.
And with the room saying foul trouble, Hargrove in there for Providence. 8 on the shot clock, it's Vox. Vox to Daniels, they're stuck with 4. Daniels down to 2 at 1. They're gonna run out of time.
Pretty darn good defense right there, John. Now this is a time of the game where Jameer Jones and Jalen Sellers get that rebound. If you can get stops and just head down straight to the rim, try to force the issue a little bit on transition defense of St. John's. Try to make them a little uncomfortable, but it starts with trying to get a stop or at least a defensive rebound and going.
Providence hit 14 threes yesterday. 0 for 3 thus far today. Ejiofor over Hargrove, and the Red Storm are going right at the Friars. Now this is St. John's team. In the analytics, they're top 35 in terms of what they allow from beyond the arc. Donnie, it's hard to find an open look. Right now, the Friars are lost. That's a backcourt violation.
Those sets when you know you played many more minutes than them.
And now this was a challenging predicament. Penny's with straight on defense, but Patera's Penny's only averages 4 minutes a game. They're on their third big man. Sellers guarded tightly by Cray.
Got to move here. Good call.
Floyd did move. He was off because of Cray's defense. Cray lost his shoe. Jackson up ahead. Eating in. Jackson no. And there's Ejiofor.
Man, it's just amazing. Zuby Ejiofor is everywhere. All at the same time. You know, defensively, offensively, you do the job on the drive, and then next thing you know, he follows it up. Just relentless.
Jones scores it right on cue. You asked for it.
Yeah, if he can just get downhill somehow again, he's unstoppable, Jameer Jones, when he can get a full head of steam.
Shannon.
Yeah.
Goes side, Shannon follows what his coach told him to do. Let it fly. Timeout, Providence.
And Nixon dings and guys are out.
Look, it's a team that leveled up their schedule this year and had several almost. Lost by 1 to Iowa State. Cyclones are identified as a team that can make a run towards Indianapolis. Hopkins with the runner. And it comes from a variety of sources for this team.
Now, there really are no, when you talk about what their roles are, not a lot of weak points for them, even when they go to that bench.
7 different guys have scored. Mila. Brian Mila is on a heater. He's got 9.
Yeah, he just plays. Doesn't care who he's playing against. He plays with the same pace, same rate.
Hopkins again. To your point on their different pieces, St. John's up 14-0 in bench points. Nothing new for Providence. It was almost all their starters who produced yesterday in the score.
Or a bounce pass if you don't throw that floater up.
The Red Storm have handled business to this point with revenge on their minds for even what happened here. Bryce Hopkins on a pogo stick. He wants the last word against Providence as Vox hits the runner.
Yeah, everyone kind of stopped, and Jalen Sellers was like, let's go, get the ball out.
That's how you let your game do the talking.
Yeah. There was a little bit of a glance over to the bench, Providence bench. Had to point that out.
You major in that. Glancing. Here's Sellers. He's out of control. And we are watching a 25-16 flex its muscles right now. Last year they won the Big East tournament, but then a first weekend exit after that deflating loss to Arkansas. Hopkins! He's putting on a show at the Mecca! And a smile from number 23 in white. The center of a melee on February 14th that was caused by a friar in Duncan Powell. And today for Bryce Hopkins and the Johnnies, it feels like Hopkins releasing all his emotions and letting his game speak in New York City.
So many pieces, none more important than this one right here. Bryce Robert Hopkins, the pride of Fenwick out of Oak Park, Illinois, letting his own team know who he is.
At Sargento, we've been making your family's mac and cheese a core memory. You can taste over 70 years of our family commitment to high-quality, real, natural cheese in every bite. You have our word on it, you have our name on it.
Sargento.
A promise you can taste.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. But fortunately, I did not check just how permanent my body paint was. So, yeah, check Allstate first. You can save hundreds.
40% from 3, but if he can make a couple, it changes everything for them in terms of what their front line looks like.
He had just 9 points apiece in the 2 meetings with the Friars in the regular season. Already at 11 in this game, in this first half on 5 of 6. Prey with the right hand.
Energy guy. You know, they just, early on, Coach Pitino had talked to us about who sets the table you know, what they're going to do in terms of a point guard. Dylan Darling shows up, obviously, gets more minutes. But Ruben Gray, to me, is just as important as whoever's setting the table for you, because he's your energy off the
bench. It became outright. And they beat Seton Hall in Newark, and then UConn lost to Marquette. That's when it went from a share. Johnnies would have been the 1 seed regardless of Saturday's result. They are the 1 seed in this tournament, but it became outright when Marquette pulled that off. Marquette going down last night to Xavier. Darling, no. And it'll stay with St. John's. We came on the air and we told you, Kim English said to his team, guys, you got to dig in and rebound. Well, Donnie, they're minus 14 on the glass. Minus 8 in points in the paint, and then you couple that with minus 15 in fast break points, and it's produced a 21-point lead. Prey. He's off. They were 5 of 11 before that 3-point attempt.
Sometimes when you hear your coach say you got to rebound, guards tend to think that's just for the bigs. But it's got to be gang rebound. Everyone on the floor has to stick their noses in at every position against a team like St. John's on the glass.
Especially for a St. John's team that has dominated in the points, in the second chance points column as well over the last 2 months, especially. Bodies to the deck, Darling and Mila. Darling wins it out. Ibinayo feeds it off. And it's laid in by Sellers.
Ibinayo, a guy that Coach Pitino, when he goes deeper into the bench, can really trust. Made the right play there, couldn't give it up early, held on to it, drew a couple, drops it off to Sellers.
That is Jalen Sellers with the answer.
Yeah, you got to get some plays and put them together here. There's a bucket. Now you get a stop at this end. Need another bucket here. Got a steep uphill here for Providence, but got to keep playing. Those floor first. 50-50 balls. Dylan Darling, he's got his name all over those.
The St. John's team lost to Providence in this building January 3rd. Since then, 16-1. Box is short. And the Red Storm, they've got the look of a squad that, number one, was not letting that happen again. A team that's only lost twice in this building this year. Alabama and these Providence Friars. As Darling putting Daniels on some skates. Shot clock turned off and the Johnnies fans standing. What a half by the Red Storm. Darling feeds it off. Hosea Sellers with 4. Sellers out of control. And that'll take us to the break. The Johnnies make an opening statement.
On board with Coach Pitino, and most teams, it starts on the defensive end. When you're fatigued on that end, that leads into taking tired shots, lazy shots, you know, shots that you're settling for on offense. But it starts on defense. For really, even teams that aren't defensive teams, for Providence as well, it starts on this end.
Caroline, you were sitting in on Kim English's huddle. What did he have to say?
Well, he had a similar message to what you heard there from Rick Pitino. English said, you're tired, but it hurts so much more to not box out and not give effort.
It hurts so much more to be at home watching other teams play in a championship game or a semifinal game as well.
Especially when you know it's over if you lose. As Jones is off, that's one of the dimensions of this tournament. Kim English reportedly on the way out at Providence. Mitchell is off. Prey on the offensive glass. But his guys played hard for him yesterday, and they're trying to will something into existence this afternoon. Play for 40 more. Coach English took that from Jim Calhoun as Shannon Sports and company can get something cooking. That is a shot-making finesse versus some rough physicality matchup coming up between Seton Hall and Creighton. Vance. He connects. Stephen Vance.
That stroke is so pretty. You won't find a better stroke in college basketball than that. You just won't.
He's got 480 points on the season. That's the most points by a freshman in Providence program history. The answer's there for Sellers. He's got 9. And as you've alluded to, you can't just trade him with 10 minutes to go. It's still 15. got it down to 11. Mila stripped. It's whistled to Providence.
There he is, just that little hesitation there, and he's got the size, John, to be able to elevate over. Good call there.
Mila looking for Vox. Now Sellers is chasing him. Vox has a step now. Oh my goodness.
I would assume even you could make it into a hula hoop, John. I'm guessing. I got confidence in you.
11 this half. Thank you, Donnie. For Vox, and it is down to 12.
Wow.
That was just absurd. Jackson can't hit. Trey on the offensive glass. They're down 18-2 on the offensive glass.
If he caught that originally off the glass, John, and tried to go, he'd be behind the hoop. Smart play there by Ruben Prey.
Great international talent in this game. Prey from Portugal, and it's been in the Rick Pitino Development Factory, and just like that, it's back to 15. And that's a 10-second violation. That is, this program had not seen it outright since '85 until last year. Now they've done it back-to-back seasons. It's been a long time since we've been talking about St. John's at this level and on this level of the map nationally. But Donnie, it's the Pitino effect in every way.
Without question.
Jackson, he spins it home.
That 2-foot jump stop, used it so well. Little shot fake, freeze the D, get him in the air. Beautiful.
8-0 run. Mela rejected. It's Hopkins and Sellers. Right now projected 5 seed. They look like they could be a big dance dark horse. Mitchell on the alley-oop. New York City is a buzz. It always is on this Thursday, but when St. John's is playing like this, there's an extra factor. They got a foul. Big East tournament titles. How about that part? Rick Pitino just trying to add some more history.
It's difficult, John. I was on 2 teams that won outright regular season Big East championships, but getting to the Big East tournament was a different animal. It's so difficult to sustain that, to win the regular season, continue that into the Big East tournament. It is hard. We never did it, at least my years.
Why not?
It's tough. It's not impossible. Almost impossible. Obviously, St. John just showed that it's not impossible.
This guy has hit 12 threes in these 2 games. 12.
Good steal.
And now a steal by Mela. Mela tapping and hitting. It's down to 18 here with 7 minutes to go.
And look, it's probably inconsequential for this game in St. John, but those are plays right there that I think Coach Pitino will look at and say, those are game changers in terms of winning and losing percent free throw shooter for his career. But if he makes 1 or 2, it changes everything. And I think when Sannon and Jackson and obviously Sellers are making 2 each, next thing you know, it creates so many openings for everyone else.
And they're all smiles. Sadiku Ibinayo is beloved in the St. John's locker room. A captain, a guy who Rick Pitino says is a dream to coach as a senior. That'll give it. Stephen Vox now has a Big East tournament record. 13 made threes in a 2-game span. Sannon. One big factor in this game, St. John's bench.
Yeah.
30-0. Oh my gosh. I mean, that was really deep.
And better contested than the previous.
Yes.
I think the message has been sent that you better get out on him no matter where he is when he steps in the building.
Well, Donnie, wherever he is next year, wherever Stephen boxes off. This kid is really talented.
I wouldn't be as surprised to see him in the association next year.
He's the type of guy who gets a combine invite over the last 10, 20 years. And we know the prior coach had much to do with that. But as they look forward, you talk with different national analysts, and they tell you this is one of the most valuable jobs, not just in the conference, but across the Northeast corridor.
And not many better places to live than Rhode Island. I got to be honest. I know I'm a little biased because I live in New England, but beautiful place to live. And you talked about it. The fans are passionate. They love their team. They go all in, win, lose, or draw. You are going to be supported. And like I said, players, no matter who's in that uniform, they just know how to fight, and they play with pride.
No question.
Not a good job, great job.
It really is a strong job. Their practice facility is world class, better than some NBA facilities.
Beautiful campus. I'm with you, John.
There's a lot to like. A lot to like about Providence College. And in this current era where sometimes fan bases will say, the older fans will be like, well, the roster always changes, and I don't know if I could, still be as a look, there is no doubting when you and I step inside Amica Mutual Pavilion, I don't care if the team is 18-3 or 3-18.
Yeah.
This fan base is rich with passion. And if in fact they officially have the opening, that opening will be desired in the country. St. John's, Donnie, they really left no doubt in this game.
They got off to a slow start, John, but they fought their way through it, and aggression and the understanding of how important it is for controlling tempo and pace of games is controlling the glass.
Lefty Leonopoulos, one of the returnees on this team. And for St. John's, first Big East program to get those back-to-back outright regular season titles since Villanova did it from 2014 to 17. It's been a lot of coronations over the last 2 years, but a lot of handling business. You think back a couple of years ago, 2 years ago, when Rick Pitino said to his team and said,